like most people, I figured I'd be pretty good in front of a camera. Like, how hard can it be? You stand there and have a conversation with yourself. Well, it gets a little more complicated when a camel starts licking your ear. Kind of ruins the moment. And I don't know if you can see that black blur, but that's a cat whose bottom spent more time on screen than my face did. And I've heard all the jokes. And you really end up knowing who your friends are when the video kind of finds its way to YouTube the next day. So basically, after that experience, I stuck to being behind the scenes, where we were filming in Liberia, like here, little children in the country's largest slum for non-profit organization More Than Me. The video we made helped them win a grant for $25,000 that they could use to leverage a lot more support and attention for their cause, get more little girls off the street and into school. With one high-quality video, they were able to do so much. And yet they would never normally be able to afford a production team with the usual production costs. We were able to step in because of the guerrilla tactics we used to stay small and stay economical. Now, we all know that video is an incredibly powerful medium and that it's spreading fast with new and cheaper technologies. YouTube now has a video dedicated to nonprofits, to their fundraising and awareness videos. They say no matter how big or small you are, we want to know how you're changing the world. And this is what we do. We make these videos and tell these stories. And there's two things it's helped us to understand. One is that traveling and making films with a purpose is a constant education. And two, when you tell the story of Ramnaram Raika herding camels in Rajasthan to a group of people just like this at a screening somewhere in Europe, something amazing happens. They ask to come. And for our sins, we usually say yes. So they join us in breaks from work and school, and with no experience of filmmaking whatsoever, they bring motivation to do something, to learn, and they bring whatever skills they have at their disposal, like entrepreneurial spirit or marketing or writing or cooking, whatever it is, it works, because making a film is about capturing a perspective. But we can only do the work we do by staying small, staying guerrilla. Of course, there's limits how much you can physically do. Getting bigger sometimes means getting uglier. Yes, my colleague Sebastian, he won't mind, I'm sure. We had problems larger than the size of Sebastian's beard. We needed to work out how to scale our impact without scaling ourselves. So we turned to these people who had helped us, who had lived with us in the jungle huts of Papua New Guinea, who traveled for days stuffed in the back of a bush taxi through 40-degree deserts. And we figured out we needed some magic ingredients, like Alicia, our filmmaker, whose specific expertise helps bring a story alive on film. We also needed the stories that were crying out to be told, and that through being told would make a real difference. Then we needed to mix in a bunch of energy, the people who make a team, a people with vastly different perspectives on the world, whether it's a nurse, a student, a teacher, a philosopher, a banker, a lawyer. Because the people consuming these videos weren't just going to be other filmmakers. So we have guerrilla tools, we have people, we have projects. Now we just needed a framework to tie it all together and connect the dots. So this is something that is based on principles of being a student and a teacher, being highly collaborative, being intensely informal, totally guerrilla. It's an online platform and we're calling it Fish Tank. It's a space where nonprofits can post projects and then be connected to a filmmaker and to a crew of people made up of you. These people work together, understanding differences that lead to greater understanding, and working on similarities that lead to greater sympathy. But this wasn't just what we were interested in. We weren't just interested in getting more people into the film business. We weren't even just interested in getting more people into the world and working with nonprofits to utilize new technologies. We knew that something like Fish Tank was a tool to archive the human experience today, and that each small Fish Tank team will contribute to a large pool of films that will be available to a global audience. But even more than that, they will contribute to a huge archive of footage that could be accessed by anyone who contributed to it in the Fish Tank Creative Commons. They would also be on a huge learning curve, and we didn't want that to go unnoticed either. So we want to create a feedback loop where all their learning and teaching methods get fed back into editable guerrilla tactics that we read by the next fish tank team, and the next, and the next. And this huge body of research will help us discover new ways of learning and collaborating that you can only learn when you step outside of the classroom, outside of your comfort zone, and onto the most uncomfortable bus you've ever been on. So far I've told you that Fish Tank is for non-profits and social businesses. Well, that's my perspective. That's what I know. I also know a little bit about camels, more than them just licking my ear, because we spent a year researching and filming them, asking people what they knew about camels from Mongolia to Mauritania, and this is us in Kyrgyzstan. And I sat down and talked to Yoldos, who's in the frankly fantastic pink and green tracksuit there. I sat him down and said, what do you know about camels? He looked at me very seriously, paused, and said, I can tell you anything you want to know about horses. I was like, okay, right, moving on. Yoldos hacked my perspective, and people are doing it with Fish Tank. When I talked to my friend Henrik about Fish Tank, he said, you know what, that sounds great, but I would have loved a Fish Tank team to come with me when I was writing my thesis on microcredit in Kenya. I would have loved for visually literate people to illustrate my thesis and get the voices of the people I spoke to going out to not just an audience of 1 or 2 in a university, but to a global audience to learn and benefit from. I also spoke to Rainer Schuldenberg, who's building a treehouse hotel inside his warehouse in London. Now, I was focused on, this is how we can help nonprofits in Africa, it's so important. And he said, well, I want a Fish Tank team to come and cover this entire project in London so I can promote guerrilla architecture around the world. And I thought that's fantastic. It's our belief that we can hack filmmaking and we can make it more innovative, break down barriers by inviting people of all kinds of disciplines to come and work on it. And it's our vision that this will start a positive growth cycle that paradoxically stays small and stays guerrilla, but makes a big impact. So I want to leave you with street artist Shepard Fairey's words. I want to demystify and say, here are these really simple tools. Go out and rock it. We'd love for you to swim along with us one day. Thank you very much.